Welcome to the channel. If you are passionate about discovering the hidden stories of the Pacific, hit the like button now and subscribe so you don't miss our next journey. Today we are diving into one of the smallest but most fascinating nations on Earth, a cluster of low-lying islands that holds a world of history. This is Tuvalu, 9 coral atolls strung like pearls across the ocean. It may be tiny on the map, but it carries the weight of millennia of voyaging, settlement and resilience. In this episode we explore the major groups that make up Tuvalu, trace their origins, learn why people move within and beyond its shores, and even find out what a house really costs here. Stay with us to the end and you'll see Tuvalu not just as a fragile atoll nation but as a living, breathing community with deep roots and an eye on the future. The people of Tuvalu are often described as one group, but in reality the population is a tapestry woven from different threads. The overwhelming majority are Polynesian, sharing ancestry, language and customs with Samoa, Tonga and other islands across the Great Polynesian Triangle. A smaller but distinctive group is Micronesian, particularly on the island of Niue where the Gilbertese dialect of Kiribati is still spoken. Around them are tiny numbers of expatriates who come to work on aid projects or with the government, and beyond them thousands of Tuvaluans who have moved abroad to New Zealand, Australia, Fiji and elsewhere, forming a far-flung but close-knit diaspora. These three currents, the Polynesian heartland, the Micronesian heritage and the pattern of outward migration, together form the major human groups of Tuvalu today. The Polynesian Tuvaluans are the deep roots of this society. Oral history and archaeology suggest that Polynesian voyagers arrived here more than 2,000 years ago, navigating by stars and swells from Samoa, Tonga and perhaps Euvaea. Each island remembers its own founding ancestors. Niue's people speak of arrivals from Samoa in the 12th or 13th century. Funafuti and Vaitupu tell similar stories of Samoan ancestry. Nanumea recalls ties to Tonga. By the time Europeans first sailed past, every island but Niulakita had been settled by these voyagers. They built small communities sustained by fishing, palaka pits and coconut palms, bound by kinship and governed by local chiefs. Spiritual life was tied to land and sea, with rituals, songs and dances that carried memory across generations. European contact began tentatively in the 16th century with Spanish navigators, but sustained encounters with whalers, traders and missionaries did not come until the 19th. The London Missionary Society sent Samoan teachers and pastors who introduced Christianity, and by the end of that century the Protestant congregational faith had taken firm root. In 1892 Britain declared a protectorate over the Ellis Islands, as Tuvalu was then known, and in 1916 they were formally administered together with the Gilbert Islands as one colony. This colonial arrangement left deep marks on culture and administration. Yet through these changes, each island kept its own dialect of Tuvaluan, its Maneapa meeting hall, its dances such as the Whakanau, and its intricate genealogies of landownership and kinship. Life within the Polynesian majority has always involved movement. People travel between islands for family ties, church meetings and ceremonies. In recent decades a stronger pattern has emerged. Migration from the outer islands to Funafuti, the capital atoll. Funafuti hosts the national government, schools, health services and most formal employment, so it attracts young people seeking education and work. Land scarcity and limited resources in the outer islands also push families to relocate. Environmental pressures, erosion, flooding, saltwater intrusion into palaka pits, make this movement even more pressing. Today Funafuti holds more than half of Tuvalu's total population, creating new challenges of overcrowding and infrastructure, but also giving birth to a lively urban culture of its own. Housing for Polynesian Tuvaluans reflects these patterns. Land is not owned by the state but held under customary title by families and clans. Government leases land from traditional owners, and foreigners can lease but not buy freehold land. In the outer islands, houses are often built by families using local materials like pandanus and thatch, though imported materials such as corrugated iron and cement blocks are more common now. In Funafuti, demand for land and imported materials drives prices higher. There is no Western-style real estate market across the country, but estimates from international cost of living databases suggest that building or buying a house in Funafuti costs the equivalent of tens of thousands of US dollars, with prices per square meter averaging around $1,386 US dollars in the most central areas and about $964 US dollars outside them. Renting a one-bedroom apartment might cost about $264 US dollars a month in the center and about $187 outside it. These numbers are low compared to big cities but high compared to Tuvaluan incomes, which makes remittances from overseas relatives crucial in financing housing. If the Polynesian majority is the trunk of the tree, the Micronesian heritage on Niue is one of its most interesting branches. Niue's people speak a dialect of Gilbertese, a Micronesian language, and many trace their ancestry to Kiribati rather than Samoa or Tonga. This reflects Tuvalu's location on the western edge of the Polynesian world, where voyagers from different cultural spheres met and intermarried. The colonial administration, which linked the Ellice and Gilbert Islands, further encouraged movement between them. Teachers, laborers and missionaries crossed the seas, leaving lasting influences on Niue's customs and language. Today the people of Niue blend Micronesian speech with Tuvaluan Christianity and social organization, maintaining a distinct identity while participating fully in the nation. Migration also shapes the lives of Micronesian heritage Tuvaluans. Niue is small and remote, with limited services, so many residents move to Funafuti for schooling, government work or trade. Others emigrate to Kiribati, Fiji, New Zealand or Australia. Yet ties to Niue remain strong, with families maintaining houses there and traveling back for ceremonies. The Gilbertese dialect continues to be spoken at home, a living reminder of the island's mixed origins. This minority group adds diversity to Tuvalu's cultural landscape and shows how fluid Pacific identities can be. Beyond the shores of Tuvalu, a third major group is growing: Tuvaluans abroad. Since independence in 1978, many have moved for education, employment and better living conditions. There is a community on Kiowa Island in Fiji founded by migrants from Vaitupu between 1947 and 1983. Thousands more live in New Zealand and Australia, working in agriculture, construction, healthcare and other sectors, often under seasonal labor schemes. Remittances from these expatriates support families back home, paying for school fees, church donations and building materials for houses. They also bring back new skills and ideas, creating a two-way flow between homeland and diaspora. Some Tuvaluans abroad worry about climate change threatening their ancestral islands. Others advocate internationally for climate justice. The reasons people leave Tuvalu are varied. Higher wages and more job opportunities abroad are a strong pull, as is access to universities and specialized medical care. Push factors include limited land and housing, overcrowding in Funafuti and the existential threat of rising seas. The government itself relies heavily on revenues from fishing licenses, remittances and the sale of the TV, internet domain, so the formal domestic economy is small. Yet even those who move away keep close ties with home, forming community associations, speaking Tuvaluan and participating in church events. Identity travels with them. Housing and property lie at the heart of these movements. With most land under customary ownership and divided among extended families, securing a place to build in Funafuti can be complex and expensive. The cost of imported materials adds to the burden. Many outer island migrants live with relatives or in crowded conditions while they try to establish themselves. Some build modest houses of timber and iron sheeting. Others invest remittance money in concrete homes. In the outer islands, by contrast, Land is less scarce but materials are harder to transport and jobs scarcer. Thus housing both shapes and reflects migration patterns. Despite these differences, Tuvaluans share a strong sense of identity. The Tuvaluan language, though spoken in different dialects, unites the islands. The Church of Tuvalu is the dominant faith, and Manayapa meeting halls host community discussions, celebrations and dances. Land and ancestry are central to life, and even those living abroad return for funerals, weddings and island council events when they can. The Micronesian minority on Niue participates in these traditions while also maintaining its own language and some customs, enriching the national tapestry. Challenges are real and pressing. Funafudi's population concentration strains water supplies, sewage systems and waste management. Land scarcity and overlapping claims can spark disputes. Climate change looms over everything, threatening to inundate low-lying areas and contaminate groundwater. Economic opportunities remain limited, making households reliant on subsistence activities and remittances. Cultural preservation is also a concern. As young people move to Funafudi or abroad, some traditional skills and dialects risk fading. At the same time, there are reasons for hope. Tuvaluans are renowned for their resilience and adaptability. They are negotiating agreements with countries such as New Zealand and Australia to provide more pathways for migration and labor mobility. Development projects aim to improve infrastructure in Funafuti and outer islands. Efforts to document and teach traditional knowledge, dances and languages are underway. Urbanization may continue, but with planning it can bring better services and opportunities. Housing will remain a key issue. Demand in Funafuti is likely to keep prices high, especially for leased land near main infrastructure. Construction costs will rise with fuel and transport prices. Yet remittances and international partnerships may help finance new housing and climate-resilient infrastructure. In outer islands, traditional houses may need reinforcement against storms and higher tides, blending old and new building methods. What emerges from this story is not a simple division between groups but a dynamic interplay. The Polynesian majority holds the core of Tuvaluan identity. The Micronesian heritage on Niue shows the porous boundaries of Pacific cultures, and the diaspora abroad connects the islands to a wider world. All share common challenges of land, housing and climate, and all contribute to the ongoing story of Tuvalu. Tuvalu may be small in land area and population, but it is vast in heart, history and complexity. From ancient Polynesian voyagers to Micronesian influences, from villagers on remote atolls to expatriates thousands of miles away, and from traditional failed to concrete houses in Funafuti, these stories reveal a people navigating change with tenacity. If you enjoyed traveling with us today, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a journey into the hidden corners of our world. Share this video so others can see beyond the headlines of rising seas and understand the living culture of Tuvalu. Drop a comment about which island or story you'd like to explore next. Until next time, Ia Manuia, may you be blessed, from Tuvalu.